Hi everybody, Bandicoot Commando here, and welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Last time, I showed off gameplay of Phoenix. Not bad. Jean isn't too hard to get the hang of, but there's a few little gripes I can say about her, and one of my bigger ones is that she has the ability to fly. And the fact that after you break out of flight, there's no slow fall ability to go with it, that just doesn't feel right. I feel like she should have a slow fall. But that's just me. So, this time, today, oh, here we are. We're gonna read up some lore stories. So, wait a minute, just a quick second. Scratching my ear there. Okay, so, obviously Phoenix is here, but I'm not gonna actually read her lore, as much as I want to. Some new lore stories were added for 3 characters. One of those characters would be Hela, actually. So, let's read her new lore story. I got this new skin here, the Goddess of Death. Stand aside, Thor, for I am death, and Odin's soul is mine. Here it is, the Queen in black. She's already wearing black, so in the countless centuries that I have lived, I've never seen much use for kings. They are a loud, boorish lot, whose deeds never seem to match their words. Take Odin, for instance. The so-called All-Father claimed to be the most powerful ruler in the 10 realms, and yet he couldn't even save his own kingdom without having to take a multi-year nap immediately after. In all my time as the Queen of Hell, I have never once had so much as a single day off. I suppose the old saying is right. No rest for the wicked. I thought perhaps my opinion of kings might change for the better when Loki took over the throne of Yggdrasil. His goals were certainly more aligned with my own, after all, and he promised to help me expand my domain of the dead into the mortal realm in exchange for my aid. But it wasn't long before that frost-born fool got distracted from his own nefarious scheme and started to look for other ways to spread mischief. And so, instead of draining the world tree of its chronovium-infused sap, as he had sworn to do, he flitted off to Midgard, where he joined a band of warriors in combat against vampiric legions and killer robots. Perhaps it was in order to keep those threats from spreading into Yggdrasil, or more likely, it was in hopes of making the mortals his playthings again. Either way, it was all so predictable, as Loki always was. While I admit I did join the fray myself for a time, I had my reasons as well. If one of those self-proclaimed superheroes happened to perish on the field of battle, I believe I'd be able to swoop in and claim their powerful soul as a trophy. It was all part of my master plan. If I could make one of them my new champion, I wouldn't need Loki any longer. I would be able to conquer Yggdrasil and all the other realms of the living myself. Yet somehow, every time they fell, those accursed mortals found a way to get back up again, and I began to lose my patience. After a particularly irritating clash on a Midgard adjacent planet called Araco, I had finally had enough. I took my leave, fully intent on returning to my castle in Niflheim to formulate a new scheme. Niflheim? Why not Helheim? You rule Helheim. Why do you have to go to Niflheim? But then the most peculiar thing happened. I heard someone whispering my name. The voice was sweet and sinister at the same time, like a lullaby spilling from the lips of a fresh corpse. Not the kind of words I would use. Not only was it absolutely enchanting, it was strangely familiar as well. It took me a moment before I could place where I had heard the voice before, but I soon realized that it was when I briefly joined forces with the mortals on Clintar. The world was populated by a race of ravenous, parasitic creatures, the very same species that had dared to send an emissary to Hell as a harbinger of their Dark Lord's impending return. As we traveled under the planet's surface, I had sworn that someone was calling out to me. Could it be the same King in Black that the symbiote messenger had spoken of earlier? I hope so, for I wished to have words with this Null for threatening me in my own domain. But sadly, our time on Clintar ended more quickly and explosively than expected, and the voice was silenced before I could ever identify its true source. Now it had returned, though, and whoever it belonged to was seeking an audience with me. Using a shard of the Bifrost that I had stolen from Odin's vault during my stay on Yggdrasgard, I opened a portal across the cosmos and soon found myself standing on Klintar's undulating, is that how you say that? Undulating surface once again. I was not thrilled to have my boots sullied by the grotesque creatures that populated this world, but my curiosity overweighed my disgust. Following the voice, I navigated my way into a series of caverns that led deeper and deeper beneath Clintar's surface. I was no stranger to underworlds, but even I took pause as all traces of light began to fade from view. For once, I felt as though I might actually be out of my depth. But then, my black soul trembled as I heard the mysterious voice directly in front of me. So close, I felt as if I could reach out and touch it, and for some reason that I could not quite explain, I wanted to, so very desperately. "Sweet Hela," it said, "home at last." "Show yourself," I commanded. "You do not give the orders on this world, woman," the voice replied. "Really?" I mused. "Then pray tell, who does?" "I do," the voice responded. "And you are?" I asked, already knowing the answer full well. "Null," the voice said proudly. "God of darkness, the King in Black." I like how I switched voices with Null there. "I have heard of you," I muttered, "but I have no need for another king." "You do not need anyone," Null said. "That is exactly why I chose you." "Do go on," I said, enjoying Null's flattery. "When I first sent my progeny to your realm," Null said, "it was with a warning. You dared to defy me, but you did not raise my ire. Instead, you intrigued me. Then, when you came to my world, it was clear that my curiosity about you was justified. You did not belong with those who oppose me. I could sense something different inside of you, a darkness not unlike my own. I believe we may be kindred spirits." I don't know if I should be talking this low for Null, because I have this weird feeling it's not going to pick up well on my mic. "If you are attempting to court me," I replied flippantly, "then I expect you to at least be brave enough to show me your face." "If only I could," Null said. feign- feigning despair. It was obvious he was playing a game, but he was quite good at it, almost as good as me. Alas, my children trapped me deep within the heart of their own home world eons ago. I am a prisoner of my own creations, at least until someone finally sets me free. Ah, I responded. So you would have me be your pawn then? How typical. Not my pawn, Noll responded, pretending to be wounded by my words. My queen. I am already a queen, I said. I have a realm to call my own and millions of souls in my army, all ready to obey my every command. What could you possibly offer me that I do not already have? The rest of them, Noll said. Every mortal soul that ever lived. When I am finally free from my bonds, I will snuff out the stars, and then every last creature that was ever born into this ill-begotten universe will become yours for all eternity. And why would you give me such an extravagant present, my dear? I asked. You barely know me. I disagree, Noll replied. I know you all too well. Like me, you were created for a purpose. We help maintain a universal balance, you and I. It is no easy task, one you most certainly did not choose, but one you have proudly dedicated your very existence to, nonetheless. And yet, those short-sighted fools who fight in the name of life and light fail to recognize our glorious purpose. They consider us evil, when what we actually are is necessary. They have tried to conquer us, and they have always failed. Why? Because the universe cannot exist without us. Life and death, light and dark, those forces cannot be separated, and while one can be pushed down for a time, it eventually returns stronger than ever. I said, pondering Noll's words. It seems you do know me, almost as well as I know myself. What is it you would have me do for you? Reign, he responded. Sit on my throne and rule this world, protect it from the onslaught to come, from the righteous fires that would scorch it to ash, and the prodigal sons that would return to strike their creator down. Reign with the same ruthlessness you always have, milady, and that will be more than enough. And when will you return, my lord? I asked. What then? Then we shall look out over the endless abyss we have created with pride, Noll said, his voice growing stronger. And we shall live out the rest of eternity in the darkness of the void together. And should the forces of life and dark, of light and, well, losing my composure there. And should the forces of light and life dare to rise against us ever again, which they inevitably will, we will revel as we crush them beneath our boots. You truly know the way to a girl's heart, I responded, a smile twisting across my lips. I accept. Then come to me, my queen. Noll beckoned. Suddenly, the darkness of the subterranean cavern was replaced by the crimson glow of a strange spiral pattern on the cavern wall. The red symbol pulsed as if it was alive. I placed my hand on it and tried to use my arcane powers to siphon its energy, but to no avail. Instead, the wall itself began to open, as if the spiral was a lock and my hand the key. I stepped into the vast cavern that had revealed itself, and far in the distance I saw what I had been seeking. There stood a pillar made from the same material as Clintar itself, and at its top a majestic figure sat, awaiting. Not willing to delay reaching my destination any longer, I transformed myself into a Nostron crow and flew to meet Null face to face at last. When I arrived, I resumed my godly form and approached the King in Black. With a sinister smile, he silently reached out his hand to me, touching my forehead with a single finger as white as bone. I could feel his sigil burning itself into my flesh, the very same blood-red spiral that had appeared on the wall moments ago. Immediately, the organic material from which the pillar was made extended towards me, surrounding my body. I struggled against it at first, not fully realizing what was happening, but then Null spoke again. "Do not resist, my love," he said. "This is my gift to you, the first of many." Once the symbiotic substance had completely enveloped my form, I realized that Null had been telling the truth. This was a gift indeed, one that made me feel more powerful than ever, and now I could hear his voice even louder, as if he was sharing my own mind with me. "Rise, my queen in black," he said. "Rise so that all others may fall." And rise I did. I turned and walked triumphantly from the cavern, my new garments rippling around me as they guided me back to the outside world with ease. It felt as if I knew every inch of Clintar, as well as I knew my own realm. Certainly, these vestments would provide a great advantage in the battle to come, I thought. But it wasn't until I reached the surface that I realized how soon that battle would begin. There, off in the night sky, I could see a star glowing brighter. No, not a star, a being of some sort, racing ever closer toward the planet. As it continued its approach, its shape became clear. It was a giant bird of flaming wings. Could this be the same fire-haired phoenix that Odin used to sing love songs about after too many tankards of ale? I suppose I would find out soon enough. Until then, I would sit on Null's throne, claiming it as my own, and waiting patiently for the light to arrive so that I could extinguish it in the name of my king. All right, there we have it. So, that is the story so far of Season 3. How Hela makes this deal with Null, and how Null will soon be released from his prison. But we'll learn more on that later. That will do for this episode of Marvel Rivals. Join me next time as I read, of all characters, Jeff's second lore story. You heard that right. Jeff has a second lore story. That is it, and I will see you guys next time.